Hi. Okay. So one of you told me about or recommended um the speech in Charlie Chaplin's movie The Great Dictator. Now usually I don't I haven't yet. I have now. I've mainly focused on the silent films, maybe a few talkies. This one is set in 1940. Well, in 1940 exactly. So, but this particular speech is incredibly important. I actually watched it when I was in high school and then again in college, history class. Um, so when you see Charlie Chaplin dressed, he looks like Hitler. However, he is not playing Hitler. So the movie, it's a little, um, just kind of give you an idea of the film itself. It was It's a political satire comedy. Chaplin wrote it, produced it, directed it. He actually wrote the music too. That part I didn't know. So, much like the kid, he was all over in it. I think he did everything in that one. I know he wrote the music too, but for the kid. So, in America, it was well received. In the United Kingdom, it was well received. Um, However, in Latin America, it was not. It was banned. I don't know if the ban is still. In 1945, it was released in France and became the most popular film of the year. Um, so it's a controversial film. I mean, that's pretty much a given. Now, I'm going to put a link for the speech itself. I will read what he says and talk about it. To me, it doesn't seem, because I try to keep my channel as political free as possible because I feel like politics are everywhere. One less place for politics. You can find it in my channel. But what he talks about in his speech, it needs to be discussed. And I really appreciate that this particular individual brought it up to me. I will leave the comments open. If you're just going to be an ass, then your comment is going to be deleted. Because no. The thing about his. One thing that my sixth grade teacher, and this is relevant, I one of my sixth grade teachers said that everyone perceives things differently. So I'll talk about it and how I see it, and this is why I'm leaving the comments open, is because you may perceive it as something completely different. Um, so anyway, I didn't know that there was a a version with like all this weird music going on in the background. But um, the clip that I found doesn't have all the weird music, because weird music a lot of times is very distracting. I've had so many times where I find these silent films and they have just like this weird, awkward music. I mean, it's silent film anyway, but sometimes the music, and that's how it was even back then, you have this music that is, it makes it enjoyable to even watch the film. Choose the right music. Anyway, I highly recommend you watch the speech because him delivering it is it's just better than me reading it and then explaining my idea. And like I said, just like what my 6th grade teacher said, everyone perceives things differently. I mean, so here we go. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible, Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. And this world has room for everyone, and the good earth is rich. And the good earth is rich, can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. So this beginning is basically stating, the there's room for everyone. It's kind of like at this point in time, we would see it as the hippie way of thinking, where there's room for everyone, man. Let's all love everybody and everything else. But basically, that's what he's saying. He's saying, why are we miserable? We should be able to appreciate everyone and like everyone and be at peace with everybody. Because again, this was in 1940. It was wartime. And because yeah, there's room for everybody. Why are you trying so hard to have your where you are and then have his place too, or your little area and take their place, this married couple's place? It doesn't work that way. Stop trying to invade. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives us abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The aeroplanes and the radio that have brought us closer together, closer together, sorry about that. The very nature of these inventions cry out for the goodness in men, cries out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. So, yeah, uh, greed poisons men's soul. It's been relevant since the dawn of time. I mean, I watched those documentaries on ancient Egypt, and they talk about the scribe, or not the scribes, the priests that would break in to the tombs and take um, the jewelry and everything off of the bodies. Sad, very sad, and it's greed. and it has continued to be a thing. And then when it talks about machinery that gives us abundance has left us in want, our knowledge has made us cynical. This particular part where he's our cleverness, hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. That particular part makes me think of social media, because I see too much where people use social media to lash out. They hide behind their computers, and I'm even seeing where people are calling people keyboard bullies. And that shouldn't be a thing. I mean, it's one thing to disagree, and say something, but if you're completely vicious about it, I've also seen where people are still saying the whole thing of, you know what, drink bleach and die. It's like, why is this still a thing? Why are we still saying that? Or, if someone disagrees with something or states their opinion and it turns into this nasty little thing on Facebook, it's just awful. And it's like we have this way of connecting with people, and but at the same time it's kind of a curse. Why? Because now people are like dumbing down the way that they type. I mean, 10 years ago, I thought it was awful that people would, instead of typing out the full word before, BEFORE, it was just a B and the number 4. It's getting worse. I can't even understand what half of these people are saying, and they think it's funny. And it's like, it just keeps dumbing down more and more because people want to be lazy. It's like, oh my gosh. There was a time when people were actually building monuments. I mean, you guys are so impressed with the Colosseum and that sort of thing, but you refuse to build something like that because you're too lazy, you don't want to get up. Instead, you want to sit and be keyboard bullies. That's what you want to do, and barely type out a word. That's what you want to do. And I think the most annoying thing is you want to lash out at people that you don't even know. And then you have, lately you see these cases about people that are using the internet to get someone to kill themselves. Like the suicide cases that turn into murder cases, and it's awful. Ah, that shouldn't be a thing. I remember in my day, the internet was used for knowledge, not for that. Oh man. So that's basically what he is saying, more than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. So, like with the whole clever, yeah, you're using the internet so that you could get someone to kill themselves. Well, yeah, that's clever and all, but you're gonna end up getting caught, and they usually do. Why couldn't you just be kind to that person? Because now you just hurt a whole bunch of other people, like the family. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. Airplanes and radios that bring us closer together, the very nature of these inventions cry out for the goodness in men, cry out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Well, now, like, we have the internet and we have television. In the 40s, they didn't have TV. I don't remember when TV was actually invented. It seems like it was in its infancy. They were still trying to make it, but it was actually, anyway. But, yeah, so we have all of these inventions that bring us closer together, but it's like now they're just being abused. And that's kind of what he's saying here. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that make men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. So in this little part, it takes a turn. Most obvious thing I could say. He's basically saying there is hope. These people who have brainwashed you, like these dictators and these emperors and people who are enslaving you and making you turn on each other and everything else, they're not immortal. They'll die just like you do. And so that's one, but I'm getting ahead of it. So if you've seen the clip, he is standing on this stage and he's talking into a microphone, and then this is where he looks down at his crowd, and it says, "Soldiers, don't give yourself to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate. And the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty." So again, it's just basically, and as when I was in history class in high school, of course, my teacher was saying that basically it was the whole get out from under the thumb, and that's basically what my college professor said too. But after being in an abusive relationship, it takes a different turn too. Basically, he's saying, because it can go both ways. It can say, get out from under the thumb of this um, person who has enslaved you, and this dictator and everything. But also, there's another side to it where it says, this person who is abusing you, you have the power to stand up to this person. This person is basically using you, I mean, when you're in an abusive relationship, it doesn't matter how small or how extreme the abuse is, in a certain way, it's the same thing. I mean, you're being used. And so, for their pleasure of any way, shape, or form, and once you get that chance to stand up, they've lost the power. Once you fight back, yeah. So, he does say, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. But again, being in that situation, it That's what I took it as. So there was a two meaning for me. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke, it is written, "The kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you." And I know that the person that um, mentioned this to me said it shouldn't be just the word man, it should be everybody. And I agree with him, it should be everybody. He's just quoting something. And, but yeah, I do agree, it should be everybody. Men, women, everybody. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to create this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then, in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. So, and it's interesting that he uses the word brute for, because he starts out saying, like emperor and but these particular, so in his words, like brute, who enslave these people, they're liars, they're manipulators, they don't keep their promises, and they they rise to power. Oh, it says right here. Okay, by the let's see. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. He's basically pointing out that you know dictators, brutes, emperors, all of those, they walk over people to get what they want, to get up in the ranks. They'll break promises and everything else, and doesn't matter. So but those people that they walk over have the power to change this, to change all that. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite. So, and again, it does sound a lot better when he says it. It really does. When he's delivering it, saying it, everything else. But truthfully, there are hints of political in it because it's in a political satire movie. But pretty much in its entirety, the speech itself is basically telling him, you know what? It's basically saying, you are not slaves. You should not see yourself as slaves. You are stronger than that, and you can stand up to these dictators and these people who think they're immortal. They're not immortal. They're gonna die, just like you. There's nothing about them that makes them better than you. So the fact that they have you in fear, why are you in fear? You're better than that. You're not a machine. You're not cattle. You're not anything less than them. So instead of spreading the hate that they want you to hate, I mean, that they want you to spread, start spreading the exact opposite and start spreading this um this happiness and gentleness and kindness and everything else, because that'll make the world a lot better. um I will leave the comments open again. If you're just going to be snotty about it, um I'm removing the comment because I'm not interested in immaturity. Um, but when it's something like this, I do know that um, there are difference of opinion. So that's why I'm leaving it open. But please don't get just don't get um I can't think of the word, but yeah, I don't want my comments to be plagued with um a fight. I really don't. Um I just don't want to deal with that. But I think you guys can handle disagreements in a mature manner. Anyway, I will have a link for this speech, and for some reason I always remembered it without some weird music, but I guess that a lot of other people who upload it have that weird music. I've never actually seen the movie. I've always just seen the speech. But I know what is wrong with me. Never seen the movie. I just know that it's a very important speech in the anyway. Um anyway, so I'm very interested to see your comments. Again, if you're just gonna post immaturity, I'm deleting it because I just don't want to deal with that. That's just not, I'm not interested. And again, please no fighting. Disagreements are fine, but don't get too heated. So, but that is the speech in The Great Dictator delivered by Charlie Chaplin. So, it was released in 1940.